No one needs to suffer alone. No living person is beyond hell. And now, Addict.
Hey Marcy, I can't make it to Latin tonight. Will you head to meeting? I don't know. Everyone said to be present next year anyway. You can use practice. But thanks, Marcy.
Marcy, I need the council member phone numbers by 8 in the morning.
I'll get a new Miss Kent. Come on, Marcy. Honor Society. I can't. Mr. Coulter said I could get the information from someone else. I have student advisory right now. Okay. This student council, Latin club, physics. Where's that stupid advisory folder?
Good morning. Today's activities include sophomore volleyball game at 4, followed by the JV team. Spirit girls are hanging signs this morning. Committee members should report to Marcy Wilson in the gym. And here are a few student announcements.
Latin Club members, see Ms. Keller to pick up your magazine sales packets. We meet 8 o'clock Saturday morning.
Days were getting shorter. I felt like every minute had fewer seconds in it. It was at least 2:30 in the morning before I could get to bed, and I kept getting up earlier and earlier. I couldn't keep up with the pace.
This is just Adderall. All it does is it helps you concentrate. Even college students use it.
No side effects?
No, just like I told you.
The Addies worked for a while, but then I got to taking more and more of them, and it still wasn't enough.
Here, try this. Hey, easy. Take that much and you're dead. This is the real thing. Crystal, just take 2.
It's the same thing, right? There's no difference?
The morgues are full of people who thought that.
The meth lasted me all morning. I could do everything. I thought I had finally found the answer. Except that in a week, I had to snort twice in the morning and 2 more times in the afternoon and evening. And even though I could get to bed earlier, I was so hyped up that I couldn't sleep. So I found downers. I did Crystal all day and Valium at night to calm me down. Then I won another election. Snorting wasn't keeping me up anymore, and Valium couldn't put me to sleep. So I started smoking the meth and taking triple the amount of Valium. Life had turned into an elevator that was going 1,000 miles per hour both ways at once, and always a heartbeat from crashing. One morning, even smoking couldn't get me going. I had just enough mind left to see that I had to quit. But I didn't tell anyone. I thought I could bring myself out of it.
You sick, Marcy?
Yeah.
Let me stay home and take you to the doctor.
I'll be all right, Mom.
Are you sure? All right, I'll see you at 5:30 then.
So Mom went to work and I quit. The crystal wore off at about 10 o'clock and I got scared. I nearly popped some Addies, but I knew I couldn't. By noon, I had the shakes. I tried to rest, but my stomach was churning and I got sick 4 or 5 times. I drifted off to sleep, only to hallucinate and wake up gasping. I thought I'd feel better if I got dressed, so I dragged myself out of bed, but the shakes turned into convulsions. And I gashed my face open on the dresser as I fell. I tried to reach for my phone to call for Mom or the emergency room or anybody, but I couldn't reach that far. My muscles wouldn't respond. I remembered posters I had seen at school, drug counseling phone numbers, crisis lines. I remembered people in assemblies saying it was dangerous trying to quit alone, that they wanted to help. But I couldn't move enough to reach my phone. I felt my body slowing down. I actually felt it happen. My skin got cold and damp. The convulsions didn't come so often, but I felt my breathing slowing down. It was still slowing down when my watch read 2, and when it read 3, and 4. I never saw 3 to 5.
Angie used to like to do was get a bunch of oxycodons and go out to the little airport and watch the planes take off. We'd sit by the car outside the fence at the end of the runway and just watch them go. After a few oxys, those things just seemed to slow down. It got us smelling weird a lot, and Angie about went crazy a couple of times when she thought the planes were coming straight at us. But I don't know, we just kept doing them. We'd been taking them for a while one day, and there was no action on the runway. So we drove over to the hangars. They were working on a big twin-engine plane with these huge propellers on each engine that were spinning so fast you couldn't even see the tips. We had a couple of oxys left, and we popped them. When they took hold, those things just seemed to slow down until they were barely moving, like two ceiling fans in some old movie. All of a sudden, Angie says,
Nancy, I bet I can walk right through those props. They're going so slow, I bet I can walk right through them.
"Yeah? Well, I can too." The propellers were really still going full speed and 10 feet high when we walked into them. Angie lived 2 days, I lasted 3, and enough pain for 100 lifetimes.
Okay, put your hands together for Kendra, Star, and Quacer.
We played to 85,000 in the Superdome, 90,000 in Dallas, and 100,000 in LA. Every time we cracked 80,000. There's this song I do, and they love every song I do. Our first album, well, it was still #1. Our second album hit gold by Friday. We were hot and we were loving it. This Rolling Stones interviewer once asked me, "What's it like singing to a 10 of a million faces?" I said, "It's like having 100,000 people say I love you at the same time." And one of my favorite songs, I shout out "Hey" at the crowd, and they yell it back at me. Man, you ought to feel 100,000 people screaming a "hey" at you. You can hear it above the stage monitors and even above Jeff's solos. It's this enormous wall of love. And you've got to keep it going. You've got to keep giving it to them. They can't stop screaming because once you've had it, you just can't do without it. You can't do without the preparation either. The mirror, the blades, and the candy. I spread those little lines out before the show, and for 2 hours. There's nowhere else in the world for those 100,000 or for me. And then when the show's over and I can finally hear a little bit, the roadies are outside sweating it. I heat that stuff up and I smoke it and it hits. It hits. People are always trying to drag me though, telling me I'm trashing my mind or I'm murdering myself, or telling me about somebody else that Coke killed. One of our roadies got so gone on that stuff that he fell under the soundtrack wheel in Phoenix. Man, his mind had been gone for months before that. Of course, doctors tried to blame that on Coke too. Brain wipeout, they said. I don't want to hear about that. I don't have time to think about that. I've got a show to do.
The second they told my dad he had a baby son, he started writing my Olympic gold medal acceptance speech, but I started disappointing him right away. This guy at the office had a baby girl just the same day I was born. He and Dad had a standing bet of $5 who'd do what first. Dad lost $45 when that girl crawled, walked, said her first word, said her second word, said her first sentence, cut her first tooth, cut her second tooth, ran and hopped on one foot before I did. He made it an even 50 when she ran her first race. She ran against me. And Dad could hardly handle it when I cried through every softball practice and made goals for the soccer team. And when Coach thought the best spot for me in the second grade football team was as the manager. I kept trying after sport and kept being the last one chosen.
I don't get it, Tony. I was first string all the way in high school, in college, medals for marathon runs, for wrestling. I mean, what is the matter with that boy? There's got to be some talent, some ability in there somewhere.
But it didn't look like there was any ability anywhere. But when I got to be about 15, Dad decided I just needed to get some beef on me, so we headed down to the gym.
Bart, we got a great weight training program here. The best thing in the world for you, okay?
I knew if I turned a corner, if it was my age, but weight seemed exactly right for me. Maybe it was me alone, you know, me against me instead of me against everybody else. But, I mean, all I know is that the gym was open at 6 every morning. I was always waiting by the door. They always seemed to throw me out. I was doing some bench pressing one afternoon when this guy approached me.
You're doing pretty good. How long you been at it? A couple weeks?
Yeah,
Hang in there. You'll get some definition after a while.
I'm ready for it.
Of course, you can rush things a bit.
No thanks, I don't need it that easy.
Are you kidding? They'll make you work twice as hard. Just make us thought you can do it.
No, I'm good, thanks.
I'll see you around.
In a week, I had a standstill. I couldn't pump anymore. I wasn't getting any definition. And worse, I couldn't work out as long as I wanted to.
Hey, so how's it going?
Great.
Yeah, so much more you doing than yesterday.
I don't know.
Come on. I never knew a lifter that couldn't tell you to the ounce of what he'd done. You're frozen up.
It's coming.
If you want to wait, come on, man, just try some of these.
Listen. They'll get me past this.
They will sail you past this. See you tomorrow.
So I'm at steroids. At first, I thought it was nothing. I didn't feel any different, but I was still pumping hard when they got ready to close the place. And a few days later, I was lifting weights for that gym, and in 2 weeks, I was ready to make a huge crossover on the weights. As soon as I got to the club, I sat down on the bench. I'd been pressing 185 easy, so I started working up to it. 115, 135, 155, 185, no problem. I set 200, and it went up like nothing. I loaded 125 on the side. I grabbed the bar, my heart was racing. I pushed 250 up. I started it down. The power of my arms shattered, my elbows collapsed. The weight was coming, but it was coming too fast for me to get out of the way. These guys were coming towards me. The bar crushed my neck and kept pushing until I nearly reached the ledge. Then it just rocked there.
I loved elementary school. The rooms were always bright and I always knew the answers. Then everybody grew up at once. Everybody but me. And I couldn't catch up. My first morning in junior high lasted forever. I didn't know anybody in any of my classes. I got sick in gym and threw up on the floor. I ran home. I begged Mom, please don't make me go back.
Michelle, you have to.
I couldn't sleep. I could still see those girls in class. I went to the kitchen, to the cabinet where we kept the liquor. I got a glass and poured, I don't know, something. It tasted terrible, but I felt a little better. I got to sleep, but the next day was just as bad though. I made it through gym, but nobody would get anywhere near me, and they were all giggling. I knew what I had to do. In the mornings before school, I started taking a little drink. It was okay for a while, but then it was like every teacher decided that.
Tomorrow you will read your reports aloud to the class.
I couldn't sleep again, so I'd take a drink at bedtime. Then, before the class where I had to read, I'd go by my locker and get a sip of whiskey from a fruit juice can I kept there. I tried to quit drinking a lot of times. I could tell it was getting out of hand, and I got sick a lot. But then we'd have 11th grade Tennessee achievement tests, or there'd be dancing in gym, and there'd be guys in there, or it would always be something. And then Art Phillips moved here. He was gorgeous, and he was in every class I was taking. Luckily, he didn't know I was alive. But one Tuesday night, the phone rang.
Hey, Michelle, this is Art.
Art?
Yeah, Phillips from all your classes.
Oh, hi.
Hey, this guy's having a party this Friday. You wanna go?
Mom's got something she wants me to do now. Can you call me back?
Yeah, sure.
I had a couple of drinks before you called back.
So,
I guess it'll be alright. The party.
yeah, great.
I've, got to go now.
Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.
I drank until I passed out. I was a wreck all week. Friday night, I tried to get Mom to tell Art I was sick, but she made me go. I relaxed a little when we got to the party. There was a lot of beer around and Art got one free to us.
How about some go with that?
Pills? I better not.
Why not?
No.
Go ahead. Everyone's doing it.
I've never used drugs and liquor before, but I took the 2 pills. Art had been drifting around a little, and when he came back, he said,
Hey, try these too.
"What are they?"
I don't know, they have some over there.
I was really scared. A girl in my homeroom the year before, Sally somebody, went out partying one night and got to drinking and taking whatever pills anybody gave her, and she overdosed. When they got her to the hospital, the doctors couldn't do anything to help her because she had taken 4 or 5 different kinds of drugs, and the tests couldn't trace them all. They had to just let her lie there. She was in a coma for 12 days. She never came back to school. They had to put her someplace where somebody could watch her at all times. Art kept coming back and giving me more pills. I tried to throw them away, but he'd catch me and bother me until I'd take some.
What's your problem?
Art was too far gone to understand, and I was too far gone to resist. The party turned into a nightmare. Kids were getting sick everywhere. It was horrible. A lot of them were crying or screaming as if someone was torturing them. People started passing out all over the room. Art was the last one to fall. Except for me. I looked around. The room was like a battlefield where both sides had lost the war. But I thought I was okay. I was still up. And then my head started swimming and the vision began to fade. The last thing I saw was somebody coming through the door carrying a cigarette. He dropped it and grabbed his phone. He dialed the first 3 numbers when I passed out too. By the time the cops and the ambulances had arrived, some of the kids had started to come around a little, but they all had to be admitted to the hospital. Art kept slipping in and out of consciousness for 3 days before he finally stabilized. It took the doctors weeks to find out just how much damage the drugs had caused. They had caused a lot. But in one condition or another, everybody who had passed out at the party eventually woke up. Everybody but me.
Want to know something, man? I do paint. I also do hairspray and gasoline and glue and Johnson markers, and I even know to do cooking sprays. You want to help, baby? Nah, this paint's all mine. This stuff, I bet you weird. And they'll flop you down on the pavement as a chip your brain cells away. And you will walk like a sloppy drunk if you can still walk. And you will do crazy things to yourself and anyone who happens to be standing around you. And you not want to eat a thing, and you will not want to do a thing but cough. And your kidneys will melt, and your liver will quit. And before
Before you know it, what's left of your brain will turn to jello. Oh, aren't you sad about that? Let's help the poor ghetto girl. Let's send $10 from Catholic Charities. Well, save your money. The bottom of the barrel was 50 feet above my head, man, and we both know you couldn't care less. Maybe I don't care either. Maybe. So leave me alone, man. I'm busy. That was me in October. By Thanksgiving, my mind was sliding. I tried to think things out, but they wouldn't come together. Every day, I just puffed until I dropped. On Christmas Eve, I was dead underneath the blade of a snowplow I never saw coming.
We knew the opening show was going to be big, but when we hit the stage, we saw people from wall to wall. Word was it was going to be the biggest indoor crowd in history. Frisco missed us. The applause for each number was so loud, we couldn't hear the kick to the next song until we had them settled down. Finally, the show was over, but they weren't through with us. They were screaming, "Hand drop! Hand drop! Hand drop!" So we went back out. And they didn't give up until we'd been back out there 3 more times. But when no one had an ounce of energy left, it ended. Like some big house party breaking up where no one has any energy left to do anything but just go home. We were supposed to get picked up by a helicopter, but cops couldn't keep cars at the landing pad. And nothing in the ground was moving for at least 2 hours, so I just settled back with my freebase kit to ride it out. I started to load the pipe, get the torch on, and started to bake. I held the lighter down real close so the first one would be a hit. There was a big flare when it lit, but I'd had that before. So I just leaned back against the couch, waited for the base to hit, and it hit. I rolled my head back and forth on the couch, just loving the rush, but suddenly I realized something was burning. I turned to look, and my hair went in front of my face, and it was in flames. I twisted my head back and forth, but it just spread to my shirt. I was screaming, but there was so much noise in the corridor, nobody could hear me. I ran in the hallway and— Somebody threw a blanket over me to put the fire out. They called the paramedics, but we were in the biggest traffic jam in our country's history. And help was over a mile away. They said the fire stopped burning, but I couldn't really sense it. It was just going on forever, and I just had to wait.
I've never had a lot of love in my life. When I was 2, my dad thought my mom and me would be better off without him. So he left about 3 o'clock one morning and took the car and every penny in the house with him. My mom worked day and night, boys ignored me, and I had nothing to say to the girls at school. So I searched for some love, sprayed on the back of a stamp. LSD. I would turn up the stereo and I'd find things in my head that I never knew were there before. And people would tell me about acid flashbacks or bad trips, but I just didn't buy that. And then I met Ben. He had brown hair and blue eyes and a smile that could knock you out. I'd see him 2 or 3 times a week, and we'd always have a great time. He told me one night that he liked older women, which was perfect, because I am 16 and he is 7. And then all of a sudden, I had 2 loves in my life. I was turning on a lot, trying acid on everything from sugar cubes and tattoos, and I even tried shrooms once. But Ben was more important than any of it. If I knew I would have been sitting with him that night. I would have let the LSD go. I came home from school one day and I wasn't scheduled to babysit, so I dropped some acid. And the next minute, Ben's mom called.
Paul's boss just came into town, Jimmy, and we have to take him to dinner. I know it's short notice, but could you possibly fill in for us?
Something told me to say no, but I was afraid they wouldn't find another good sitter. I'm on my way.
Thanks, Jimmy. We always feel better when he's with you.
I had convinced myself that the acid wouldn't take, since by the time I'd gotten to Ben's house, nothing had happened. Hi, Ben.
Jimmy, are you okay?
I'm fine.
You seem kind of different.
I'm fine, Ben. What do you want to do?
Did you bring any records?
No, I left so fast, I completely forgot. I'm sorry, I'll do better next time.
It's okay, we can play some of mine.
And that's when the acid took. And in the worst way possible, a bad trip. I was hallucinating and I thought I saw something in the corner of the room. Ben, what is that?
What's what?
In the corner, what is that?
I don't see nothing in the corner, Jimmy.
Can't you see it, Ben? It's getting darker and darker. Can't you see it, Ben?
Jimmy, you're scaring me.
It was like my brain had split in two. I was hallucinating, but I knew I had to take care of Ben at the same time. And I could see both sides at once. Give me your hand, Ben.
No, what's the matter with you?
I was afraid myself, but I knew I had to take care of Ben. We'll be okay.
Stay away.
It's okay, I won't get us. I'll help you.
No!
I reached for his hand, but he was so scared, he ran out of the door. I ran after him and I screamed for him to stop, but he was so terrified. He was headed for the walkway bridge over the expressway. Ben, get down! By the time he had gotten to the middle, I was almost to him. And then he started to climb the guard fence. Ben, stop!
Don't hurt me, Jimmy, please.
I would never hurt you, Ben!
Stay away.
It's all right! But as I reached for him, he lost his handling on the fence.
Jimmy!
5 cars passed over him until the traffic stopped. I just stood there at the bridge, looking down at him, and the hallucinations were gone, and all I could see was Ben. I ran. I didn't stop at the interstate. I didn't stop until a family from Portland let me out by the ocean, and I lived on that beach. People would give me some of a sandwich or half a cold drink if I could beat the dogs to it. There'd even be money sometimes, and I'd think about buying LSD, but then all I could think about was Ben. But one night, the temptation got too strong, and I scored some acid, and I turned on at about sundown. I started to walk along the beach, and that's when I heard Ben. I looked out, and there he was, just 100 feet from shore.
Jimmy!
I started to swim, but when I reached for him, he was just 100 feet further away. But I kept swimming.
Please help me, Jimmy.
I reached for him again, but this time when I reached up, he was just 100 feet further away. But I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. I had to keep trying again and again. I had to keep trying. I had to.
There are 2 rules that will keep you alive in the street, and both of them are me first. You make friends if they've got good age or if they know a good connection. That way, when things get slow, you can always rob them. Of course, you don't want to run into them in the dark. Almost every person that uses smack starts dealing when the need gets big enough. But it's a dangerous business. Very unstable customers. Mugging was my system. Listen, I don't have any money. So if you've got any money, I'd like for you to give it to me. Of course, you don't have to help me, but I'm a rather heavy drug user, and 2 months of living that way, then a woman I tried out on turns out to be an undercover cop.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in the court of law.
They knew I was strung out, but they just threw me in a tank. I needed horse all the time, but they just threw me in a tank with a bunch of drunks. In about 2 hours, it started to hit. I was walking and then running just to keep myself from getting into it.
Sit down, you're making me nervous.
Shut up.
I said sit down, you're making me nervous.
Shut up before I make you dead! The running didn't last though. My muscles started to cramp. My legs, my arms, and then my stomach hit like I'd been hit with a house. I fell over in a corner, screaming my head off, but nobody came. And then the nausea started, and then I couldn't scream for gagging. And my stomach hit again, and I puked all over the floor and fell into it.
Hey, get this guy out of here. It's making me sick, man.
Shut it in there!
I got friends.
Shut it!
I was sweating so bad, my clothes were dripping. The chills hit, and then the nausea started again, but I already dumped everything. And so I was just sitting there heaving until I got so weak that I finally curled up and fell asleep for a few minutes. But then the muscle cramps started again, and it felt like my neck was going to twist off. And then I started seeing things. There's this little guy, and he'd jump up and he'd kick me through the ribs. And then I'd go after him, and then he'd be someplace else. And then he got behind me, and I couldn't turn around fast enough to get him. He was there all the rest of the night just jabbing at me.
Judge time, Kuda, clean up. Put this on.
After I got ready, they put me into a holding cell. The little guy was gone, and I was getting hyper again. Hey, don't I get some breakfast in here?
You couldn't hold it.
Just bring me something.
I'll check.
That's exactly what I wanted. I knew that the lowest security in the building was right around that cell.
Stand clear of the door. What's wrong? Sick again?
I grabbed your gun and put it under my shirt. I carried the tray out with me. There's supposed to be a public bathroom over by the courtroom. I found it and I ducked in and then climbed out the window. I ditched the tray and put the gun into my pocket. I was looking for a connection. I'd heard about this chick that was always supposed to hang out over by the bus station. Supposed to have the best steaks in town. No strychnine in it. Never cooked anything much. Top stuff. Got any H?
Who's asking?
Kuda.
I heard someone named Kuda took a fall. He's locked up.
He's out. Look, you got any H or not?
Not?
Come on. I need that stuff.
You can't afford it.
I'm good for it.
Cash first, jailbird.
Whatever you say, lady. She had 2 balloons in a kit. I dodged over a street and into an alleyway. I had to find a place. There was a dumpster over against the wall. I climbed into it. I was getting the stuff ready as quick as I could, but I was dropping a lot of it and it was mixing in with some of the oil in the bottom of the dumpster. I brushed it all up to try to save it, but so much oil had mixed in, I had to fill up the spoon a couple of times. I shut up twice. I leaned back to wait for it to hit. But it didn't. And then I started searching through the garbage just to see if I could find some more of it. And then I moved the box and there was this little man again. This time he was holding up a mirror in front of me. And he was laughing at me. I tried to kick him, but my foot never came down and I fell back into the dumpster. And then I tried to go back after him. I was flying for maybe a second, and then came crashing down again. And then he was in front of me with a mirror. And I saw it dumped in the garbage pile. And then I was inside the mirror and outside of it at the same time. And I was inside my own head. Then I saw my brain explode and drip out through every opening in my face. And mixed in with all that oily black stuff in the bottom of the dumpster. And then I couldn't see anything. Or hear anything. Or feel anything. They found me when the city truck came by.
I've heard about kids who would perform little tricks for their parents' friends when they came over, like recite a poem, or dance, or play the piano. When I was 3 and my parents' friends came by, I rolled their joints for them. When you live with dope, you start early. When I was in 4th grade, I was smoking nearly every day. Before I was out of junior high, I was dealing over $100 a weed a day and smoking nearly half of it myself. And then I met angel dust, and that PCP on a joint was just what I needed. Mom caught me at it about that time.
Janice, what are you dusting that with?
Seasoning salt.
Don't be smart. Is that PCP?
What if it is?
Because if it is, I want you to dump it.
Not likely.
Very likely. Hallucinations or not, this stuff can turn on you.
This was coming from a woman who spent most of her life with a beer in one hand and a blunt in the other. Her worrying didn't worry me. I was becoming a duster deluxe. I never dealt it though. I was afraid I might run out. Not that I didn't share. That's what got me busted. I sold some grass to a friend before school and dusted a joint for her. We got stoned before school and she went all weird in class and started screaming. They found the stuff in her purse. They said that if she ratted out the pusher, then they let her off. She did.
It is the verdict of this court that you are guilty as charged on both counts of delivery of a controlled substance. Your punishment is assessed as 2 years at the State Correctional School for Girls at Hopkins. However, as this is your first offense, I will offer you an alternative. The sentence will be suspended to 3 years of juvenile probation if you agree to work 12 hours each weekend in the housekeeping department at the Chemical Abuse Wing of Children's Psychiatric Center.
Jails don't appeal to me, so I took it. I didn't know there are different types of jails.
Here, take this. I'll lock the vegetable bin for you.
Vegetable bin?
You'll see.
She unlocked the door, and I saw a ward full of the most pitiful people I'd ever seen before. Most of them PCP flashers who'd never be outside again. The stink was unbelievable. They looked like beaten, starving dogs. Most couldn't be restrained because they hurt themselves even more trying to get loose. And each had his own pain. One girl had flashes that her hands would turn into fire ants, so she'd slam her hands against the floor again and again. She had broken every bone in her hand, and the flashes were so regular that they never had a chance to heal. She had to be fed by an orderly. Another girl kept having flashes that her tongue had turned into a tarantula. 2 years earlier, she ripped it out. They found it across the floor the next morning. But she kept flashing on the same thing, and she kept trying to rip it out. She had loosened all the teeth in her mouth and clawed the inside of her mouth so much that the marks showed on the outside. Some weren't strong enough to do anything, so they were strapped to their beds, but sometimes you hear them gagging and you know the flashes were back. I saw what the judge was after. I quit weed and PCP that day. My parents were still toking all the time, so I moved in with my grandparents. It was nice living somewhere where you knew there was nothing in the brownies except for chocolate. And my grades were on the rise, too. I started getting into really square stuff, too, like school dances and basketball games and passing dumb, embarrassing notes about guys. I was through with the weed, and I was through with the PCP. But I went to bed at 10 o'clock on January 16th, the 45th day I'd been clean. At 2 a.m., I woke up. There were rats chewing behind my eyes. I took my head and I shook it, but they didn't stop. I slammed my hands against my fist, but my head, but they wouldn't stop chewing. At 4:30, I found my grandmother's knitting needles. At 4:33, I shoved them into my eyes. I kept shoving until the rats quit chewing. They put me in children's for a while.
Could I have your attention? Could I have your attention, please? There is an announcement I must make. I am Billy Gage, personal manager to Kendra Starr in Quason. It is with deepest grief that I announce to you the death, early this morning, of Kendra Starr. The announcement was not made until this evening because we wanted this concert to be a final tribute to her and to have the people she loves share in that tribute. Those wishing refunds may send tonight's ticket stubs to the promotional company. Your money will be mailed to you. And now, Quason.
Autopsy log, week of October 26, 2019. Menson Pathology Laboratory, medical examiner. Clements Bart, male, 15 years. Site of death, Nolan Mall Health Club. Death due to cardiopulmonary arrest, secondary crush injury and tracheal laceration caused by falling weight bar. Accidental. Wilson Marcy, female, 16 years. Site of death, private residence, 883 Wellman Circle. Death due to respiratory arrest and subsequent brain death. Probable drug overdose. Traces of amphetamines and barbiturates in bloodstream. Accidental. Anglin Jimmy, female, 17 years. Site of death, offshore, Allen Beach. Body recovered by Coast Guard. Death due to suffocation by drowning. Trace amounts of hallucinogens. Accidental. Carson Dancy, female, 17 years. Site of death, intensive care unit, Scott Hospital. Death due to cardiopulmonary arrest, multiple lacerations, multiple dismemberment, internal hemorrhage, near decapitation by airplane propeller. Methaqualone present in bloodstream at time of incident. Accidental. Last name unknown, Kuda, male, approximately 18 years. Site of death, garbage receptacle, alley of 614 Centralia. Death due to heroin addiction, narcotic overdose complicated by foreign body embolus. Body unclaimed. Accidental. Delgado Luisa, female, 15 years. Site of death, 96th Street at Callan Avenue. Death due to massive crush injury. Internal hemorrhage, multiple lacerations caused by municipal snow removal vehicle. Extensive liver, brain, and kidney damage due to inhalant abuse. Contributory to incident. Accidental. Bailey Michelle, female, 16 years. Site of death, private residence, 2816 Patton. Death due to massive drug overdose. Specific drugs undeterminable. Complicated by blood alcohol level 3.0. Some deterioration of liver. Accidental. Evans Janice, female, 16 years. Site of death, chemical abuse wing, Children's Psychiatric Center. Death due to earlier brain injury, complications, and infection, secondary to self-inflicted knitting needle puncture wounds. History of drug abuse, possibly contributory. Accidental.
The Kendra Starr Memorial Concert. Everybody stayed. Not one ticket was returned for a refund. Kendra Starr died the way she lived, with that wall of love around her. But there are worse things. There are worse things than dying in the height of your career. You could be put in some house north of San Francisco, having 5 staff members watching you all the time. You could hear the radio, hear all the new voices, watch videos of concerts, and realize you'll never feel that wall of love again. You could be alive. Like this.
No one needs to suffer alone. No living person is beyond help. Here in Middle Tennessee, confidential drug and alcohol counseling is available from many places, including the ones listed in your programs. No matter how serious the drug or alcohol problem you or someone you know may be facing, or even if you only have questions, do not hesitate to call. Many substances, besides the ones mentioned in Addict, are being abused in this area, and most can be very dangerous. School administrators and counselors and the staffs of churches and synagogues are also the sources of advice and support. Above all, remember that many, many people care about you. Please accept their help. It is not too late. If you didn't notice me frantically shaking in the background, I was sitting way back there, and oh my God, I am so freaking proud of you guys. Can we get another round of applause for that? So, you know I'm taking a little bit more of your time. I'm gonna sit down, these heels are killing me. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of background to this whole production. So, a couple months ago, in the summer, I was thinking, man, I don't know where I got this thought, but I was just thinking, man, we really don't do a lot for Red Ribbon Week in schools. I mean, we only did kind of a PowerPoint, and then everyone kind of laughed it off. It wasn't really taken seriously. And so I thought, that's not enough, because drug abuse is a very serious thing, and people need to take it seriously. So I talked to my dad, who's my assistant director, sound director, advertiser, literally everything. Daddy, can you come back? None of this show would have been possible without him. I mean, everything, yeah. Before I get more into, never mind, I'm doing the story, sorry. So, I talked to my dad about it, and he remembered an old play that he did in college, and I guess you know where I'm going with this. That college play was Addict. He found his old VHS tape, remember those? His old VHS tape of the show. We watched a little bit of it, and I decided that I wanted to put on the show. So we went online, found the script, got the rights, got the theater, got our cast, got a rehearsal space, and then put on the show. Woo! And has been incredible. This whole thing, directing a show, putting on a show, especially that I know is going to mean a lot to a lot of people, has always been a dream of mine. Ever since I was little and I discovered what directing was, I was like, that would be fun. So, I assistant directed a couple shows, maybe was stage manager for a couple, and I just really loved it. So, this was a dream come true. And again, none of this would have been possible without a ton of people. So, I have them on my phone, because it's been a long night, and I cannot remember a thing. So give me just a second. We have a couple of sponsors that sponsor this show. They were so incredibly gracious, and when I heard that we actually got sponsors for the show, I freaked out. It was insane. So anyway, the sponsors are National Recovery Center, Music City Interventions, The Becoming Counseling, and Rhythm, Renaissance Life, and Dry Time Coding and Painting. Can we give a round of applause? Nathan back there has been recording the show. Yeah! I want to thank Laura. Laura, can you come on out here? She did incredible special effects that you see up here. Also, I want to thank Bailey. She did the other half of the cast, so let's give another round of applause. All these people up here for bringing them to every rehearsal, waking up early on Saturday. I know you wanted to sleep in, but you didn't for the show. So give a round of applause for the family. I want to thank the girl back there. You did all the lighting for this, or the stage lighting, spotlights. Good Lord, he did the lighting for this. So let's give another round of applause to my dad, because he really helped out. He just was insanely incredible with all this, and he's always supported all of my dreams and passions. And I wouldn't be this successful, and I wouldn't be as ambitious if it wasn't for him. So let's give him a round of applause. I want to thank all of you for coming to the show. Give yourselves a round of applause, I guess. It means a whole heck of a lot. All right, thank you guys. That's been our show. Emily! Round of applause for Emily! All right, thanks again. I won't hold you any longer. If you guys still want popcorn or water or whatever, you're free to get it. Again, all proceeds go to the Red Ribbon Foundation. Thank you all for being here.